Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Kayla, and today's video I'm just gonna kind of be talking about like my 2022 goals for this channel, for my reading, and then like going into my January TBR. Figured I'd just combine the two videos because one of them is just gonna be short. My first goal for the year is to upload more consistently. I haven't been great at that, but I would really love to do like a weekly video, like probably put it up on like Thursday or Friday. I think that's probably good for me, so I can like have the week to edit it if I need to. I tend to like never remember to edit or film on the weekends because I'm like having fun, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I'll figure that out and hopefully do that. I'll have like my weekly wrap-ups, or monthly wrap-ups, and my like TBRs and stuff. I want to try and maybe do like a reading vlog or a vlog of some sort once a month because those are fun and I'd like to get like better at them because I really enjoy watching them. So I want to share that with everyone. Yeah, and then I'll figure out what the fourth video is because there's like 4 weeks in every month, and I don't know, I'll figure some stuff out with that. And then I'm doing 2 reading challenges, kind of like officially, unofficially, you know, no pressure, this year. And the first one, I'm sorry, I have like hiccups. The first one is the official Agatha Christie Read Christie 2023 challenge, which is basically like 12 prompts, like 1 book a month. And each year they kind of have like a theme, and this year's theme is like motives and methods. So it's kind of like each book is going to deal with like a different motive or a different like method. Oh, and the really cool thing about it is that it's like some Poirot, some non-Poirot, like some Miss Marple, which I haven't read. It's like kind of everything, and it'll get me to slow down because in December I read what, like 4 Poirot books, which just, I'm gonna run out of books in like a month. So there are a lot, but there aren't enough to keep up with that level that I was doing. So I've got to slow down, and reading like 1 or 2 a month I feel like is a lot more doable and sustainable. So this month is Sad Cypress, which is one I've actually been pretty excited about reading. The theme is like jealousy, I guess, the motive or whatever. And I know that it has a lot of like courtroom scenes. I'm not exactly sure what the plot of it is yet. I haven't gotten a copy yet, but it's basically like, yeah, there's some courtroom scenes, and I've really liked Agatha Christie's courtroom scenes, and I just think it'd be fun to kind of like participate with a little community thing with that, especially like the official Agatha Christie society. I don't know, but yeah. And then the second challenge, readathon, whatever it's called, is the Around the Disc in 800 Days challenge that is put on by like Literary Diversions on YouTube and Melb's Reads on Instagram, which is basically just like reading all of the Discworld books by Terry Pratchett, which I've wanted to read for a long time. They're like one of my girlfriend's like favorite series, and I read Good Omens years ago and loved it and loved his sense of humor, so I feel like I'll really enjoy that. And one of my goals for the year is to like kind of rediscover my love of fantasy. I think like Dark Academia was kind of a nice way of easing myself back into that world, because I really loved, I think if I think about like most of my favorite books from like before the age of 14, they were all fantasy books. And then obviously in high school you start reading, you want to read romances, and because you're like got crushes on people and you want to read about that and everything. But then I think I was kind of burnt out on the whole fantasy thing because I grew up in like the Harry Potter, Twilight, Hunger Games era, and I just felt like a lot of the rip-offs and the knockoffs and the things inspired by ended up like kind of falling flat for me. I feel like Terry Pratchett is such a good way to start, and like I can talk about it with someone in my home, and then I can also like see what people say about it online. And I know there's like a lot of different ways to read the Discworld books, but the way this challenge is doing it is in like chronological publishing order, which I think is the order I would do it. It's the order my girlfriend did it and recommends it. There's a lot of like sub-series, but I think it's kind of cool to like spend a little time with a character and then come back to them later or whatever. So the first 2 books in that are The Color of Magic and Light Fantastic. I'm not sure which one's first. Look, yeah. Yes. The Color of Magic is first. So I'm excited about that. They're both so short that I'm like, I can probably read these in a weekend. Like, well, like one each weekend. So I'm really excited to be part of that and to just like enjoy these books with other people and get kind of like other people's opinions and see what other people who like know more about the world say about it, because some of the more like high fantasy books I think could be a little confusing for me, because I haven't read like Lord of the Rings or any of those high fantasy elves, wizards, orcs kind of thing. So very excited about that. Very excited to like be trying like 2 challenges. And I also, a big goal for this year is to read more classics. I didn't read a lot that I was supposed to read in high school. I was a big fan of SparkNotes, so I missed out on a lot of stuff. I was also, you know, going through high school things, so like the idea of like sitting down and reading Wuthering Heights was like, no, why would I do that when I can just talk to my friends on the internet or whatever. Watch another 12 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer today. Anyway, but yeah, so I haven't like read so many classics, and we own a couple, and like so I'm really excited about that. And some of my favorite YouTubers are doing like classic book club. Like I know Emily Fox does one where like they take 2 months to read a classic, and another one is doing like she had the Tolstoy versus like Dickens book club, where they like compare and contrast books by those authors, and now they're kind of like expanding it into like different things. So I'm excited to like maybe try that, like read these 2 books and like listen to like a book club discussion of what they are, or just read whatever. Like I really want to read like Great Gatsby. I really want to read Emma. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. And I might actually do like a video at some point where it's like reading books I was supposed to read in high school, or maybe a series, like every other month come out with a video where I'm like, I read this book, so now I actually understood it and what we were talking about in class. Okay, then on to my actual, big with my hands today, then on to my actual January TBR, which outside of these books and the Agatha Christie, which I think I'm probably going to listen on audio because my library didn't have it. So I'll start with the library books because I have to read those. So the first one from the library, there's a bit of a glare because of that, is Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente, which is just a really short book that I know a couple people recommended. I, of course, can't think of them, but it's kind of, I think it's just kind of like a dark, messed up kind of book about this woman who, she's like, her husband's perfect except he's like lying to her and there's something else going on, and I think it's kind of twisted and fun like that. And as I said to the librarian when I checked it out, like, if it sucks, it's only 150 pages. Then I got another Riley Sager, The House Across the Lake, which I think is his most recent. And I've heard such mixed things about this book that it makes me so intrigued. I feel like it's either like people are like, this is the worst book ever, or love it. And the premise of it sounded so insane. Like, it's about this woman who, she's like an actress who's recently widowed, and she goes to like stay at her lake house or something, and she watches this like couple across the lake, and she's like supposed to be there to like detox because she's like an alcoholic, but she doesn't. She just drinks all day. So I think it's kind of an unreliable narrator. She's watching this house, like something messed up happens, I think, that she sees, one of those kind of stories. But then because she's like an alcoholic, it's kind of like, was that real or was it everything? And I like that. I watched I think it came out about a year ago on Netflix, the Kristen Bell show, like the woman in the window at the house across the street or whatever. Like, that's kind of like a satire of that type of book, The Woman in the Window, The Girl on the Train, where you're like, as the protagonist watches something horrible happen across the street or through a window or whatever. And so this kind of reminds me of that, and I really loved that show. It's like a dark comedy that kind of, like, it starts off and you're like, is this a satire or is this like a real mystery is happening? And it kind of turns into like something really interesting. So I'd recommend that if you love true crime. And I think like all the episodes are like half an hour and there's like 10 of them. So I recommend that. And then the last book I got at the library is a nonfiction called Unmasking Autism by Devin Price. This was recommended by Allison Pages, and she's also the author of Laziness Does Not Exist, which is another book that I want to get. And yeah, it's basically, like it says, I have ADHD, and so I'm part of the neurodivergent community, and I also am studying to like be a psychologist, so I think it is important to understand autism, especially from a woman's perspective, because it presents very differently, and I have some friends who are autistic, and yeah, I'm just really, I heard that was like a really good like book on autism and neurodiversity and all of that stuff. And yeah, and I'm really excited, as you know, like masking is part of ADHD, and I spent a lot of my life doing that. So even though it's a slightly different perspective, I am very excited to see like what is relevant to me and my experiences and everything. So I'll probably, nonfiction tends to take me a while to read, so I will probably end up needing to renew this from the library. So it'll probably be in my February TBR too. But anyway, currently I'm basically in the middle of reading everything Leigh Bardugo has ever written. Got the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which it's January 10th today. That's the day I'm filming this, which I literally finished last night. So I did that, and I will not be saying much about it here because I will be losing my mind about it in my wrap up. But basically it follows the story of Alina, who is, she's like an orphan, and she finds out when she's like 16, 17 that she has basically magic powers. Like, this universe has these people called Grisha who have magic powers. Like, there's different types and they control different things and everything. And she is a sun summoner, which is like super rare, like so super powerful and everything. So she leaves the army where she's like a soldier because she's like poor and everything. So like goes to the palace to be trained to like use her magic, and there's like a boy back home who like is also an orphan, who's like, she likes, well, like they're in love, but like they don't realize it yet, you know. Well, she realizes it, he doesn't realize. I'm again not gonna get into it. And then like at the palace there's like this super powerful like head Grisha, the Darkling, who like, he's like sexy but he's also like dangerous, and it's just so great. I can't wait to freak out about these in my wrap up. But now I have to read the Six of Crows duology, which takes place after that, like in the timeline, and follows basically 6 people who are kind of from like, they're just like normal people. They're like commoners. They don't have magic. Well, I think one of them has magic, but and like it's basically a heist. It's a heist. So very excited about that. And then I have to read the King of Scars duology after that, but I would be surprised if these books, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. Like, so I'd be surprised if I got to this one in January. And this one is about a character who's introduced in the second Shadow and Bone book, who is the best. Then, continuing with Leigh Bardugo, I just came back from the bookstore. Love it! Look at it. It's so beautiful. Oh my god. Ninth House was my favorite book of last year, and like this book literally came out today, and it's the sequel. I think it's gonna be a trilogy, which I'm very excited about, although sad that this isn't gonna be the conclusion because like the cliffhangers are ridiculous. But yeah, I can't really talk about this if you haven't read Ninth House. But yeah, it kind of continues that. It's dark academia, takes place at Yale, secret societies, ghosts, magic, occult. This one I think is like a little darker because it seems like there's like murders, but there's also, it seems like there's like a heist. So reading a lot of heists this month, I guess. But I'm so excited. I read the first page. It's like literally like got it like an hour ago. And I love her writing, and yeah, I cannot recommend these books enough. I think it kind of depends what you're into with where I would recommend starting to see if you like her world building and her writing, because I think that starting with Ninth House for me was definitely the best because it's very, despite it being more on the fantasy side of the dark academia space where some of them are very like real, I do think it's much more like based in reality, and these people are like a little bit older, and therefore me in my 30s feels like I can relate more to like a 20-year-old than like a 16-year-old, even though obviously they're still like babies compared to me. But yeah, so I felt like that was a really good introduction to her writing, and then I was like, I love her writing. Then I went to the fantasy, but like if you're looking for kind of like a, I think it's kind of called like urban fantasy, because like there are cities and it's, the world is much more like ours. There's not like a ton of like magical creatures and elves. It's just like people, and some of the people have magic, you know, like I feel like that's a little more like Harry Potter-esque than like Lord of the Rings, a totally different world. Like in some ways it seems like this could almost be like our world thousands of years from now or something, you know, where I guess we found magic. but yeah, so just kind of whatever you feel like is your thing. Anyway, so yeah, I'll probably get into more of that when I've read all of them, and I can't wait to start Hellbent in like 5 minutes when I finish this video. Then I also have If We Were Villains by ML Rio, which I've started. I'm about halfway through. I like it so far. It is basically these 7 friends, we're gonna use the word friends, at a super fancy like performing arts kind of school. They are studying acting. They're in the drama program, and the drama program there only puts on Shakespeare. So they're seniors, and the seniors get to do like the tragedies. So they're doing Julius Caesar, and basically it's like just kind of the problems inherent in that kind of competitive world where you all want to be Caesar or Brutus or whatever. And then there's a thing where they do like a Macbeth thing, and like the casting kind of gets shaken up there. They assign people different roles than what you would expect, because it's just for like a special performance, and that is like kind of the catalyst for like so many things going wrong. And it's just really, it's really interesting. I'm briefly pausing on it. I still want to finish it this month, but I am currently taking a break because I was just struggling with like, there's like a relationship in it that I don't like, and I'm struggling with that. But yeah, I feel like the like first like 40% of the book was so good, and then like the big thing that happens, which is like a murder, like that's on the back of the book, but is almost like a letdown. I don't know. It's complicated, but I'm excited to like finish it. And I don't know, I was thinking it might be a 5-star, and now I'm like, it's gonna have to do a lot in the last 50% of the book to become a 5-star, but who knows. Then I've got some like Libby loans that are gonna be coming through the main one is The Man Who Died Twice, which is the second in the Thursday Murder Club book series. I really like the audiobooks, like the narrator's really good and really fun, and then I have the book so I can like go back and forth if I want, which is fun. Good to have like an audiobook for when I'm like going on long drives or whatever, so excited to get to that. Yeah, I know it basically like picks up, I think, like the day after the last one ended. Not exactly sure what it's about. I don't really care. Like, you know, when like a book or an author, you trust them, it's like, I don't really care what the plot is. I'm like, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have a good time. I love these characters. Yeah, there's a death, a body is discovered, there's stolen diamonds. Love it. I'm gonna have a great time and it's gonna make me happy. And it'll probably be a nice little refresher, like after Hellbent, because I feel like this book is gonna destroy my soul. So in the best way. And then the last book is a book on my Kindle. It's Hooked by Emily McIntyre, which was recommended by Emily Good, a different Emily, on YouTube. And she loved it. So I'm like, and I think I had a friend who read it and said she liked it too. But it's basically kind of, it's like a Peter Pan retelling, but very different, where basically it follows Hook, and like he's kind of he's the villain, but he's like the protagonist, the main character. And Peter Pan is Peter Michael, and he's like kind of like actually a bad guy, and his daughter is Wendy, and Wendy and Hook kind of enter into some sort of romance. I know it's like a dark, I know it's like a dark romance, and there's some like violence and all that kind of stuff, but in some ways it's kind of like nice to have a change of pace from all the like cheesy happy romances. And I read like the first like 2 pages and it's really well written, so that's kind of the most important thing to me. And yeah, it's just fun. I like Hook a lot as a character. Like, I don't know if it's Once Upon a Time's fault or what, but you know, if this man is half as sexy as Killian Jones, he can do whatever the hell he wants. Like, he can kill people or be a mafia guy or whatever. He can do whatever he wants. So yeah, those are my plans for this channel going forward, which I'm really excited about. I'm really excited to hold myself accountable and get some stuff done, and yeah, push myself to upload consistently and come up with video ideas, because if I want to upload every week, like, I've got to have video ideas. So that'll be fun. It'll be like a creative thing and everything. So yeah, I'm really excited. Let me know if you've read Discworld and you are like, hey, I want to also read along with this challenge, or if you have any like really good kind of like classic recommendations that I should start with, because I know I'm gonna do The Great Gatsby for sure, but then I have Wuthering Heights and Emma, and I'm like, those are really big, so like maybe I should work my way up to that. I don't know. And definitely if you've read Shadow and Bone, the Grishaverse, like, let me know, because I am dying to freak out about it more. Like, that's all I talk about. And I'm gonna go read Hellbent now. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.